Alright, I promised I'd make a short video before I get all the plastic back on, and to go over some of the sensors and where their locations are and some quick information on what they do. This is your PGM FI. I always call it ECU for short. Most people understand that a little better. PGM FI stands for Programmable Fuel Injection Module. This underneath it is your fan module. This is your voltage regulator. All Pioneer 1000s from 2016 to 2025, the 3 and 5 seaters, this is all in the same location. The majority of these sensors that I will go over are the same on all years, Pioneer and Talon. There are some small differences. I don't want to get into all that because it could make the video too long. If someone needs some clarification, they can just ask me. So anyways, PGM FI, fan control module, voltage regulator, engine coolant temperature sensor, thermostat. This is your bleed valve for your coolant. So that's the valve, the nut you would break loose to get the air out of the system is there. This is your throttle body. This is the throttle position sensor and manifold absolute pressure sensor, which in 22 and newer, they added a third sensor inside of it, which is your air intake temperature sensor. This is your IACV valve, idle air control valve. Its whole job is to route air around these closed throttle throttle body plates when it's at idle. It does that by this hole right here. I know this is different. This is an aluminum aftermarket spacer, a little more bored out, but the spot's in the same on factory. There's a hole there and there. It routes air around there and into the head to control. It controls the idle, but it's controlling the air-fuel mixture at idle. So that's why when they act up, the idle will go up and down, because if you were looking at it on a data log, you would see the AFRs going up and down, the air-fuel ratio. So what happens is they get sticky over times because it's a plunger that's sliding in out of a cylinder. Generally, you'll see it happen more when it's cold. When it gets hot, when they first start acting up, once they get hot, they straighten out on what it is because everything's sticky in there. When it gets hot, it moves better. So that's your big, that's probably number one thing you'll see over and over again. This is something that's very rarely talked about. This is your positive crankcase vent. What this whole job is to relieve the pressure inside your engine block. So this needs to stay clear. This normally goes straight to your air box. I have an oil catch can. I had one. I installed it. I'm not saying everybody run out and buy one, but I had it. So I'm using it. And what it does is catch any oil vapors that try to get into the air filter box, because they're known, and mine always did, even new, it would get oil in it. If you're seeing some sensors back here, these are aftermarket. This is something I've added and I'm going to experiment with, which is a data loggable dual knock sensor kit, so I can monitor for spark knock in either cylinder and get a little bit more playful with the tuning. This is your starter. This is your oil dipstick. This is your oil fill tube. Remember, you always want to fill here, not here. The reason is because between the DCT and your transmission, there's a wall that sticks up. So if you fill on this side, it causes an overfull condition. You need to fill in on this one, and it'll overflow into here, and then when it registers, everything's right. So that goes over them sensors. Up here's your oxygen sensor on your exhaust. Tells your PGM what your air fuel mixture is, rich or lean. It looks for a rich lean condition. It's like a wall, and if it shows it rich, it pulls fuel. If it needs fuel, it adds fuel. That's its whole job. This is an aftermarket exhaust, of course, so this is plugged in somewhere around here on the factory exhaust. It screws in. Generally, I think right before the catalytic converter. Getting on this side, I'll get up front here. This is your sub-transmission. This houses your park, reverse, neutral, high, and low. That's what this does. So you got a sub-transmission and a transmission. The transmission is your 6 speeds. This is just for your park, reverse, neutral, high, and low. Beside this dipstick right here, there's a speed sensor. This speed sensor whole job is to know when to shift by the RPM that your output shaft speed is running. So that is also called your rear vehicle speed sensor, rear VSS. You'll see that in the service manual. It's also your output shaft speed sensor. You'll see them get referred in 2 different ways. Behind your sub-transmission, above your drive shaft, going to your rear, you have 2 sensors. This is your TR sensor, which is looking at the shift, what gear your transmission's in through the shift rod that's running through to know if it's in first through sixth or neutral. This is your neutral switch right here, little sensor to tell it if it's in neutral. Let me see, that's your fuel pump, of course, on top of your fuel tank. Most people know that. These are your coils, cylinder 1, cylinder 2, your injectors. This injector 1, this is injector 2. Cylinder 1, cylinder 2. These are aftermarket DynoJet kit for dual wideband oxygen sensors. This gives me a true air fuel mixture ratio in each cylinder, because Honda has separate fuel tables for each cylinder, so I can tune each cylinder individually. This is your shift motor that shifts it first through sixth. This right here is a shift angle sensor that's looking at what gear this is. This is for emergency use. This shaft right here, you have a tool in your tool case that you can connect on here, and this is emergency valve. So if you smoke first gear clutch, and you can't get out of first gear and you're trying to get home, back to a trailer, back to camp, the manual goes over how to use this emergency valve setup in conjunction with this, and you manually shift it in second gear. This is applying pressure to the clutches and allows you to limp back in second gear to get back to camp or safety. Up top of your valve body right here is your oil temperature sensor. Okay, I have to go underneath to show where your engine oil pressure sensors are. Starting on the passenger side, going driver side, first one is your clutch 1 line pressure, your clutch line 2 pressure, so that's clutch 1, clutch 2, and that's your main clutch line pressure. That's your main line pressure. This is your oil tank for your sub-transmission. Remember what I was saying, to fill on this is what you fill first, because if you look, there's a hump between them. So that's why they want you to fill here and check it on the engine side, which is your engine oil drain plug. That's your sub-transmission oil drain plug. This is your sub-transmission shift indicator sensor. If you notice, it's embossed right here, park, reverse, neutral, drive, low. This is letting it know what it's in. And to go back over the same thing I went over, if your sub-transmission is popping out of gear on you, everybody automatically assumes it's internal. A lot of times it is. If you keep doing it over and over, it will be. But an easy way to know whether if it's a cable adjustment or if it's internal is simply disconnect your cable right here and manually shift it in whatever gear it's popping out of. Test it. If it pops out, Your problem's 100% internal. You don't have to question it. If it stays in gear, then that means that this cable's out of adjustment and it's not allowing this lever to set where it needs to set. It's got pressure influencing it one way or the other. So that goes over that. Again, from the bottom side, you can see that's your TR sensor and that's your neutral sensor. Okay, get out. On the rear differential, on 2016 to 21 only, they did away with this on the new models. This is your speed sensor, your vehicle speed sensor. This is what operates the mile per hour on your dash. Above it is another little switch that tells it if it's in turf mode or locked. That's that switch. Your front differential has the same deal. It has a speed sensor on the top that's duty is for shift inhibit. If you're in two-wheel drive and your back tires are spinning extra hard, but your front aren't moving, it stops it from shifting gears. I fixed that in my tuning, makes it a lot more fun in two-wheel drive. On the i4-wheel drive models, you'll have a speed sensor on each axle on either side, and what it's looking for is slip from left to right. And if it sees that, let's say the left is spinning harder than the right, it will apply brakes to the one that's spinning the hardest to try to push power to the one that's grabbing. That's why, despite a lot of people, it's a bad idea applying brakes to cause it to grab one way or the other. It causes random bogging and all kinds of issues. You see more of it in the Talons and the Pioneers. But that's pretty much all the sensors. This is your fuel pump. And something I did forget, which is right here. I don't have it plugged in right now, but this is your air intake temperature sensor on 16 to 21. Remember, I said they moved this over to the throttle position sensor on the newer ones. So that would go into the air box, and right around the air intake where the tube comes into it at. So that's pretty well it.